Let's talk about this. Here's what we have this Indiegogo you launched, and here's what I find truly interesting about this. So this is your Exile documentary series exposing the global crisis of religious and ethnic persecution. But the first thing I want to talk to you about is you're trying to shop this documentary series around to these networks, and they're telling you outright, yeah, but can you do it without criticizing China?
So they're telling us two things. Hey, that's good product. And then secondly, can you do it without? And so it's, hey, that's good product. Can you do it without talking about China? And secondarily, the Gulf states. And I'm like, so my exact words the first time I heard this were, we could do a Beatles doc without talking about John, but it would suck.
First, tell us what this is like. Give us the elevator pitch on what it's about. And then, why China, why they're upset about your criticizing
No
China.
human being should have to live in the place of their birth with fear that stems from their faith, their ethnicity or race, their sexuality or what have you. This is a human fundamental right to live without fear in the place of your birth. Now, if you want to move. I was in Syria speaking to some members of the Christian community from the Khabur River Valley and a representative, and I said, if I could give you anything, which I can't, that you want, what would it be? And he's like, send all the Christians back. And I'm like, hell no. No, never. But I would like to help make a world where they didn't have to fight like hell to leave to begin with, right? Nobody should have to live in fear based on deeply held convictions or immutable character traits.
Yeah.
Pause for dramatic effect. That's it. So why do we live in a world where 80% of the world lives in fear of religious persecution, which we do, 8 out of 10 people, right? That's 4 out of 5 for those of you who went to the same school I did.
And I just want
that's because nobody freaking knows.
I just got to point out, I feel for the white male Christians in this country who are suffering the worst. I'm looking over at Seamus.
He's looking directly at me. Yeah, no. But wait, a white Irish? What are you talking about?
Never.
So I just kind of backed into this, and I'm still friends with some people in D.C., shockingly. And these guys and gals don't know this stuff. Nobody knows this stuff. But if we understood just how bad this is, right? I wish you guys could, in 3.5 minutes, we kind of sort of shine a light on how bad this is, how pervasive it is. And the other thing is, like we talked again off air, hubris is when you say it can't happen here. That's like the last thing anybody says. The Titanic can't sink. It's unsinkable. Oh, shit. Right. This boat's in trouble. And so we want to show these stories because all too often the West, the United States even, and I love this country, right? I've served it in uniform. I've served it locally, state, and federally. And it's not as cool as it sounds. But the United States has all too often been complicit. We've either turned a blind eye or actually helped the people who are hurting their minority populations.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, so I definitely want to get into that, but in detail. But how is it that China plays a role in this, and why is it that? I mean, I imagine you criticize America to a certain degree.
I just did, right?
But so are these networks being like, oh, don't criticize America? No, they're saying don't criticize China.
Right. Well, because in America you can criticize America, but in China you can't criticize China, right?
In America you can't criticize China,
right? Apparently, right? In fact, there's a cottage industry built around keeping Americans from criticizing China. Irony.
Shout out to Mark Cuban.
Everybody, right? And everybody wants. We should boycott the Beijing Olympics. It's like maybe we should, but that ship has sailed. What would be freaking awesome is for one of these amazing young men or women who's worked their whole lives to be so good at this is to earn a gold medal, to use that podium in Beijing to stand up for freedom and human dignity. Right?
Well,
that's not boycott.
They
Jesse Owens sent the biggest possible message to the Nazis when he kept winning gold medals.
But didn't they ban protest outright? So like no Black Lives Matter stuff, no anti-China stuff.
They got to have a medal ceremony, right? Who were the guys in was it 68 who raised their fists, right?
I personally I think they should boycott it. You know what I mean?
I think they should have, but it's too late. We could have replicated this. We're pouring money and fuel onto the propaganda fire that is the CCP. That is literally. So I'm doing a Fox News interview, right? You think they're playing to the right, and they go, well, on the screen are the 10 biggest offenders of religious freedom, and I'm like, oh, how do you have that list without China on it?
Wow.
I mean, everybody's
the Uyghur Muslims.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the Uyghurs at the tip of the iceberg. So they've been organ harvesting from the Falun Gong in China for decades. There's 2 churches in China. There's the state-sanctioned church that does as they're told, and then there are the people who huddle in. And this is not hyperbolic. Who huddle in fear in their kitchens in groups of 2, 3, 5. Because they want to actually learn the gospel, right? So the Chinese are the absolute worst. Because why? Because for communism and totalitarianism to succeed, the state must be paramount. And faith, whether it's Judaism or Islam or Christianity, says that there's something bigger than you and me and indeed the state and the government.
That's why Jesus was such a threat to the empire.
Dude, right? And so they had this script for how Jesus was supposed to play, and he didn't play by it.